there's going to be an impact no matter which candidate wins. They're going to work for the policies that they believe in on both sides. So whichever candidate wins is going to have an impact on your life and the lives of your peers. Hi, I'm Quinn. I'm a senior. I'm currently president of speech and debate and Model UN at my school, so I'm interested in all that stuff. I love music. I play the guitar. I love hanging out with my friends, movies, games, all that fun stuff.
When you were younger, like really young, did you have pre-existing notions about politics or elections?
My earliest memories of politics were basically, I remember when the 2008 election was happening and people were excited because Obama would be like the first black president. I remember I was five or six. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I hope he wins then. And then I remember my dad telling me that Democrats were bad. So those are really my two earliest memories there.
And now, kind of looking back on it, do you think your pre-existing notions or what you were told were kind of correct? Or like, what are your current opinions on like politics or elections and how have they changed?
Sure, yeah. I mean, if we're going off of those two, I think it was cool that we had a black president. And no, I don't think all Democrats are bad, and so I don't think all Republicans are bad. So yeah, I go with that. I don't know if those influence me too much moving forward.
So kind of going off of your childhood, was there a moment that immediately made you interested in politics, or was it somewhat of a more gradual occurrence?
I'd say it's probably more of a gradual occurrence. We always had the news on in my house, so it was kind of always something that I would see, and kind of the news is created in a way to make it interesting. So over time, I'd start to look into that more independently, and that kind of grew into an interest in politics.
So you're currently in the class of 2021. So do you think you're different or similar to your peers in regards to when you became interested in politics, or are your peers even interested in politics right now?
Yeah, so it might just be because you tend to associate with like-minded people, but I'd say most of my peers are probably, at least somewhat interested in politics, interested enough to vote when they get the chance. I probably got into it a little bit earlier than some of my peers, just because it was kind of the thing that was always talked about in my house. But I don't think it's necessarily a good or bad thing at what age you get into politics, as long as you are able to pursue that.
As a senior in high school now, you have a unique perspective when it comes to voting. Some people in your class can vote, some can't, and it's kind of that, I guess, middle ground. For the class of 2021, would you say that the people who can vote right now are excited to vote, or are they even voting in the first place?
I think among my peers, people are excited to vote and voting. Then again, like I said, I might associate with like-minded people, and we do live in a more affluent area, and those tend to have higher voter turnouts. So it could be those factors and not necessarily just the youth in general. But overall, I'd say that my peers are interested in voting. Being in class 2021 does kind of provide an interesting perspective, though, because having half your friends not be able to vote when they really want to kind of does illustrate the importance of it and voicing your opinion, as there are people that you're very close to that don't have that opportunity.
Do you guys often talk about the impacts of the election or voting or politics in general, even kind of outside of your friend group?
Well, just it being election season, it's kind of something that comes up a lot. And like in my econ class, a lot of the economy is government policies. So, our teacher will be like, well, this is what this political party thinks, this is what the other does, and how that might influence the economy, for example. So yeah, I mean, it does kind of come up everywhere.
Thank you so much. With that being said, we know it's election season and a lot of people are hesitant about voting or aren't exactly happy about their options. And a large demographic of the vote is the youth. So why is it important for the youth to vote and generally care about the impact of the election?
Right. So, I mean, first of all, I just like to say I get it. I really don't like any of the candidates, at least on the top half of my ballot this year. Not a single person I voted for in the primaries won. So I get it. But at the end of the day, with how American politics work right now, you're going to come down to one candidate winning out of two choices. So you have to look at which one of those candidates is ultimately going to be better for our country as a whole. And even if it isn't what your ideal choice is, you have to look at, in terms of how will this impact the country, which one of those is going to have an impact that moves the country in a direction that you think is closest to what your ideal candidate would look like.
And I think that was perfectly said. With that being said, I think we've all seen the infographics on social media to tell you to vote. And I know you made your own Instagram post about going to vote. Is voting really as important as we make it out to seem?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt, no doubt. Even if you think you live in an area that is 100% red or 100% blue, your vote goes towards creating a government that's actually representative of the people. You know, even if you live in an area that's, you know, had a 95% turnout for the Republican and you're a Democrat, that one extra vote towards the Democrat is another extra vote that shows that that district may not be as safe as previously thought. And even if your candidate loses, you're still showing that your voice is there and you're willing to take action towards ensuring that it's heard.
So, in specificity to your vote, what was the driving factor or issue that made you get up and mail in your vote?
So yeah, I mean, there's a million issues that I really care about. Pretty much everything I'm invested in some capacity. Honestly, I've been excited to vote since I was like 5. I'm a very opinionated person and I like having my opinions heard and accounted for. What made this election really exciting for me personally is my congressional district this year is a swing district. So, you know, that it really goes toward every vote in that instance counts towards actually deciding an election, which isn't always true, but it makes it a little extra interesting and exciting this time.
So then, if you had one word to describe the elections or the impact of the elections or how you generally feel about it, what would it be and why?
Impact, because there's going to be an impact no matter which candidate wins. They're going to work for the policies that they believe in on both sides. So whichever candidate wins is going to have an impact on your life and the lives of your peers.
Thank you so much. And if you had one last thing to say to our audience, what would it be?
It can be hard to live in an area where you don't feel like your beliefs are heard and accounted for, whether that be you're conservative in an extremely liberal area or if you're liberal in an extremely conservative area. No matter what that looks like, you have to know that your opinions are still valid, and your vote still matters. So even if you think that you're being drowned out by the opposing viewpoint, know that there's other people that are like-minded with you, and you should still vote based on policy that you believe will make a positive impact on everyone in our country.
With that being said, thank you so much for putting your thoughts into such eloquent words. We here at AMP Global Youth appreciate your willingness to change the world. And for the audience out there who is watching this, don't forget to go vote.